From Relay, this is Connected, episode 591. Today's show is brought to you by Sentry, Insta360, and Fundera. I'm your keynote chairman, Federico Vitici, and I'm joined, as always, by the annual chairman, Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
We are the co-chairman.
Chairman duo. The chairman duo.
That's right.
It's all you need. All you need in life are two chairmen.
That's right.
All.
But we are also joined by Mike.
Man of the people.
Man of the people, Mike Hurley.
I'm just a regular guy, just a pauper.
I'm just a boy.
These two kings.
I'm just a boy.
I'm just a boy looking at the audience and asking them to love me. You know, that's me.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
They do love you.
We'll get into this, but you could become a keynote chairman again very soon.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that.
We'll see
about that.
We will get there, though. But first, tell us the newest installment, Federico, of what's happening at OpenClaw.
Yes. OpenClaw is now owned, not clear. Essentially, the creator of OpenClaw, Peter Steinberger, has joined OpenAI. And with Peter, OpenClaw, and it sounds to me like some of the core contributors to the team, the project is now part of OpenAI. And OpenAI has committed to keeping the project open source and open and independent. But Peter is now an OpenAI employee. And it's not clear to me, actually, like the logistics of this. Like the deal was not disclosed. And it's not clear to me whether Peter will actually work in the US or will work remotely. I don't know. But essentially, OpenClaw, now an OpenAI project. And I just had a few thoughts to share about this. So over the past few days, nothing has really changed in the sense that OpenClaw is still open source and it's still, you can use Claude or any other model with OpenClaw. They're not, at least for now, they're not forcing you to use OpenAI models, which I did, by the way. I did try OpenAI models with OpenClaw. They are terrible. And they have released updates over the past few days. Everything seems pretty normal. But I had a few sort of high-level comments on this. Just general comment would be like, it's an insanely good get for OpenAI and a fumble for Anthropic. Purely from a PR and developer goodwill perspective. I think this is a masterful PR move from OpenAI, who, even if they paid, I don't know, Peter, $500 million, like I'm just making up numbers. But
if they paid him $500 million, what are we doing? What is happening?
I mean, we have heard crazier numbers from the AI industry, acquiring people essentially over the past year. So I don't know, but any amount of money, I think what this buys you is attention from the community and a lot of developer good standing right now at a time where Anthropic is kind of, I don't know if you guys are keeping an eye on this, but like Anthropic is kind of fumbling the whole developer ecosystem story right now.
How has that happened? I feel like 2 weeks ago they were like the second coming of Christ with like Claude Claw, whatever it's called, Open Cloud.
Yeah, the problem is that Anthropic is more and more turning into the Apple of it all. Right. The latest thing, so first of all, the fact that they sent, the cease and desist and the letters, like, obviously kind of made sense.
They had to do that. You can't not do that.
Yeah, but it kind of felt like, in some parts of the community, kind of felt like punching down at a guy that was just doing something cool.
Federico, it's
I get
because
it.
people don't understand how copyright works.
But I get
people
it.
think
I get
you
it.
could just choose not to exert your copyright. It's like, no, if you do that, you'll lose it. Like your trademark, you'll just lose it.
The real fumble happened 2 days ago where they updated the terms of service for Claude Code to very clearly prohibit using your Claude subscription or Claude Code subscription access with external agents.
Oh, that's not good, is it?
And they also wrote something in the terms of service that said you cannot create commercial projects based on the agent SDK. The agent SDK is something that Anthropic itself makes and releases. And developers were reading the terms of service and they were like, I'm sorry, are you saying that you make an SDK but you cannot build commercial projects with this SDK? And so the whole mix of Anthropic, first of all, not getting behind this project and then banning accounts of people that were using their subscriptions with OpenClaw, and then updating the terms of service to state that very clearly, and multiple Anthropic employees on social media kind of dodging the questions from people being like, can you be extremely clear and tell me if I can use my Cloud Code or Cloud subscription to use OpenClaw? And they were just repeating this boilerplate text from the terms of service. Like, it's not a good look. And I think OpenAI is doing all the right things at the moment. They're saying publicly, yes, you can use your ChatGPT subscription with OpenClaw. They hired Peter Steinberger. They're keeping it open source. They're keeping it, keeping support for using external models that are not made by OpenAI. I just think, and these things, as we have seen, they can shift very quickly. So maybe I'm saying this now, and in 6 hours it'll be different because maybe Anthropic will put out a message saying, "Oh, we love OpenClaw." Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, really good get for OpenAI from a PR and developer goodwill standpoint.
Can we just pause for a moment? I was right.
Yes.
Yeah. Just everyone just needs to understand that I was right. It was obvious to me. Completely obvious, and it happened faster than I thought, really.
Yes.
I also it's interesting to me that you say that people in the community are excited about this, because I just feel like if you really like OpenClaw, it's going away. I don't see a world in which that's not happening.
I don't know.
If OpenAI think that this is important enough that they would spend a bunch of money, that they want Steinberger to make something like this for them, they're not going to use this. They're going to have a productized version of it. Yeah,
but I think you can look at it from OpenAI's perspective. You can have both. Just like Codex, so their competitor to Cloud Code, Codex, is now a product. You can download the Codex app on your Mac, and allegedly there's also going to be an iOS app at some point. And that's the productized version. But the Codex CLI in the terminal is actually open source and always has been open source. Okay. And they keep working on it. So they have both the open source version and the productized version for people who don't want to get their hands dirty in the terminal. And I think they have shown that they can sort of do both at the same time, which is a nice return to form for their name, OpenAI. That's the whole point. And so that actually leads me to the second comment, which is, I do think that this will eventually be turned, a version of this will be turned into a product that doesn't require setting up a terminal, setting up a bunch of JSON files and Markdown files.
And hopefully is more secure.
More secure. OpenAI will have to invest a lot in security of this thing. But if they do believe that the capability overhang, I cannot stop repeating this expression.
That phrase has infected your brain.
I love it so much because it doesn't make any sense. You can just make up words at this point in AI. So
that's what it does,
Exactly.
Yes, it's the whole way down.
It's the whole thing. If they really do believe that to make these products more useful, there needs to be an agent that does things for you, I'm sure they will turn this into a product. And if that's the case, some really interesting parallels going on here between what OpenClaw does and what Sky, from the creators of Shortcuts, used to do on your Mac before. I don't know if these folks are now going to work together. I don't know if that's part of a singular plan for OpenAI. But there are some, and I know, Mike, you also played with Sky on the Mac before it stopped working. Some interesting parallels between them. It's a thing that it's on your computer and it can work inside of apps. Two very different approaches, but sort of same spirit.
They're circling the same area of talking to a computer and having the computer do things. And Sky was very much do it for me right now. And OpenClaw feels a little bit more like do it and let me know when you're done kind of thing. And those you could imagine those two pieces making a full whole at some point.
Yeah, because like obviously Jason in the Discord is right. Like, there's probably no way to really productize OpenClaw because that's the whole point of it. Like, it's a very loose system that you can let loose and do things for you in the background. And if you are a tinkerer, if you're a nerd, and you can keep an eye on it, it unlocks a lot of really nice features. But how do you make that into a product? Like, are you gonna tell people install this thing on your Mac, grant a whole bunch of permissions, and hope for the best? And I do understand that argument, but maybe there is a version to make it slightly more more sandboxed, obviously, but have it do things in the background, and you install it on your computer and it can do things for you, and it can talk to a bunch of APIs. I don't know. I just feel like there is a future where I can see the OpenClaw terminal. That's for the nerds. That's for people who know what they're doing. And there's, I don't know, call it OpenAI agent, ChatGPT agent, whatever. That is a similar thing, slightly more closed off, easier to use, that has a bunch of similar features. I don't know. Oh, yes, and also my final prediction. I mentioned that right now you can keep using any kind of model that you want. OpenAI is not saying, but you should really be using OpenAI models with this. I do expect a couple of things. I wouldn't be shocked if OpenAI comes out and says, if you use an OpenAI model in OpenClaw, you can have extended usage or higher limits. Like a promotion
Enhanced
of sorts.
in some way. There's like a benefit. Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't be shocked to see an OpenAI model specifically tuned for OpenClaw. Right now, you can use GPT 5.2 or Codex 5.3 in OpenClaw, and they suck. They're terrible. The vibes are really bad. They're boring, they're flat, they're dull, and they're slow. I wouldn't be surprised to see, I don't know, maybe a new open source model by OpenAI, or maybe a GPT model that's specifically tuned for OpenClaw agentic usage. Because right now, the default GPT model is kind of boring. So those are my predictions.
All right, we'll see how it goes. I have a couple of gamers topics for real gamers.
Love it.
So GameSir is a company that they're part of GameSir make
Game Daddy?
Hub.
Game Daddy.
Yes, Game Daddy. GameSir is a company that used to make controllers and still
They
makes
still
controllers.
do. They still make controllers.
Then they were one day were like, hey, we've made this Android app that lets you play Steam games,
which is incredible. Yes.
on your Android phone, like actual Windows Steam games. Like, it recompiles them and you can play them on an Android phone or other Android-based gaming apps and gaming tablets and stuff like that. They have announced they are making Game Hub for Mac.
Yes.
Which should allow you to play Windows games from Steam and other places natively on your Mac with acceptable to good performance.
Yeah.
This is very exciting.
It's very exciting. We just recorded, right before this show, I just recorded an episode of NPC that is all about Game Hub and the latest surprise in my arsenal of Android hardware for Game Hub. So that's coming out next week. But it's wild to me that GameSir is doing this thing before Apple. This is exactly the sort of thing that we wanted Apple to do.
Well, they have...
what do they have?
The toolkit?
Yeah. Have you played with it? Have you ever?
No, I'm just saying that exists.
Yeah. Yes. Many things that Apple makes exist. This is exactly what a lot of us wanted. Like, it's a translation layer that is going to take advantage of the CPU of Apple Silicon to brute force the problem of emulating Windows games on macOS. Game Hub does a lot of interesting things on Android. First, it's actually, if you're not familiar with it, it's actually two translation layers happening at the same time. And I'm going to try and simplify. It's an emulator that uses Proton. So you have the first layer of this cake is Proton, which translates Windows API calls for Windows games to Linux. And then you have FEX, which for many years it was thought that FEX, FEX, was an open source emulator. It turned out a couple of months ago that all along Valve was actually behind FEX and funding the project. So in GameHub for Android, you have both Proton and FEX happening at the same time. So they're translating Windows to Linux, and then from those Linux to Android. It's wild that it works. And
Is it going to ARM?
yes,
Yeah, so that's how we're working. It's not going to Android as such as it's going to ARM. So this is how they're able to do this. And
it's going to ARM. Yes,
and you would assume they're doing this on the Mac because they know they can do this. They probably couldn't get this app on the App Store.
They couldn't get just-in-time compilation, for example, to work on iOS, and also GameHub requires a lot of permissions in terms of breaking out of the sandbox and installing additional executables. For example, like today, for example, I wanted to play Final Fantasy X Remaster on Android, and it turns out that if I wanted to do that in GameHub, I had to install 2 different Windows components, which GameHub lets you do, but it actually lets you install a Windows. I think it was a Windows XP what are they called? Redistributable, something like that. It's wild. So it requires a lot of permissions, which are obviously possible on Android, wouldn't be possible on iOS, but they're possible on macOS. So I think there's a really fun future here if this thing works. And honestly, I have no doubt that it will in some shape and form. The idea of actually playing modern Steam games on your Mac could be finally possible. And they're also teasing some features. I'm trying to see. They mentioned, here it is. So frame interpolation, multiple color modes. So you can choose between SDR and HDR. Super resolution. This is something fun that they also do on Android. You can run a game at 720p and upscale it to, 1080 or 1440. VSync and multiple graphic performance modes. This will be really interesting to see, for example, in action on an M4 Mac Mini, but also as a comparison on a Mac Studio, because you have that much power and that much more memory available.
But also, what could you do on a MacBook Air?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's going to be really interesting to see the power that is available, and it will only, again, just make us sad that gaming on the Mac isn't more of a thing, but maybe games will be brute forcing it for us instead.
Yeah.
You mentioned Valve a minute ago. They announced at the end of last year a bunch of products. One of them was the Steam Frame, which is a VR headset. And something that people were really excited about was a technology that Valve was talking about and calling foveated streaming.
Yeah.
So if you were familiar with the Vision Pro, you know about foveated rendering, which is wherever your eyes are looking is what is rendering. And so that enables higher graphical fidelity and stuff like that, because you're not trying to render the whole view of something, but just where you're looking. So foveated streaming was the idea that if you were streaming something like a game from the web or from another piece of hardware or something like that, that the system would be able to deliver just what you were needed to see at any one point in the highest resolution. So it's like taking the idea of rendering and pushing it out to streaming. Very interesting. Could enable a bunch of cool technologies. As part of visionOS 26.4, the beta which came out yesterday, a couple of days ago, as we're recording this, Apple have announced foveated streaming as a new technology. So I'll read from the developer documentation. The endpoint host streams high-quality content only when necessary based on information about the approximate region where the person is looking, ensuring performance. Applications and games can integrate with the NVIDIA Cloud XR SDK to become streaming endpoints. So super interesting that they're putting this into visionOS. And there's like, if you're following what's going on with Valve, and I'm sure you'll find this funny, Federico, that it may end up that Apple beat Valve to having this available, just because the Steam Frame is like, and all of the new Steam products,
They're never coming out.
They may never come out. At least never in the near to mid future. Who knows? Although I have my own thoughts about the RAM stuff, which we might talk about at some point in the future. But they haven't fixed a time frame for when this will be shipping. But I think 26.4 will ship before the Steam Frame comes into existence. So it'd be really interesting to see what people could do with this technology. I'm interested to see that Apple are adding something which is so state of the art to Vision OS. I think that's really cool.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Sentry. We use Sentry here at Relay to alert us when we have issues with our content management system, our CMS, and our ad inventory system. We built both of these web applications ourselves, and we have a very part-time developer, and that means his time is really valuable with us. And so if we have an issue, we turn to Sentry to see what's going on and get to the bottom of the problem quickly. Because look, logs are messy. Trying to grep through a bunch of stuff and line them up with dashboards and traces, it's time consuming and it's error prone. So Sentry, Sentry, Sentry is here to save the day. They have logs too, they just make them usable. Sentry's logs are trace connected and structured so you can follow the request flow and filter by whatever matters. And that means at the end of the day, your developers and your team can solve issues both more quickly and more confidently. Siri surfaces the context right where you're debugging. The trace, the relevant logs, the error, and even session replays are all available on one timeline. So you're not tool hopping or trying to match timestamps. This is awesome, and it has really saved us a bunch of time and energy here at Relay. And Sentry can take it even further with Seer, Sentry's AI debugging agent. It uses all of that context from Sentry to tell you the root cause, suggest the fix, and it can even open a PR for you. And it reviews your PRs and flags breaking changes with a fix ready to go. So try Sentry for free. Go to sentry.io. That's Sentry. Sentry.io, and tell them that we sent you. They have a free dev plan, and listeners of this show can use the code CONNECTED26 to get $100 in Sentry credits. That's Sentry, Sentry.io, and the code CONNECTED26 for $100 worth of credit. My thanks to Sentry for the support of this show and Relay. We are on the edge of our seats waiting for everyone's favorite time, an Apple experience. You guys excited?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for an experiential moment.
Yeah. So Apple earlier this week announced a experience special event, something press event in New York, London, and Shanghai on March 4th. Not a keynote. Maybe it's very, they've done some things like this. Like, we've had friends attend some of these things before, but it's always exciting when they sort of mix things up a bit. Chance Miller and others think that there could be multiple days of press releases. They did this several years ago, where I know that the iPad Mini was one of them, and it was like AirPods and iPad Mini and something else.
Yep.
So John Gruber, Chance Miller, others have written about this, that this could be a multi-day rollout, and then maybe the March 4th experience is a hands-on for all of those products. I think that's pretty much what I think will happen.
I agree with that in theory, but I think that whatever is announced on March 4th is a little bit more. So I believe something will be announced on the 4th, and that will be a little bit more special because all of the experiences are timed the same. So the New York one is at 9 a.m. So that means that the London one is at, I think, 2 p.m. probably. The one in Shanghai is at 10 p.m. Now, if you were just doing a hands-on to come and see all the stuff we've already announced this week, you would not have people in Shanghai starting their event at 10 p.m., right? That wouldn't make any sense. So I think that the product that day, which I expect is probably the MacBook, the press release will go out at the time when the event begins, the experience begins, and maybe there's a video for that. Like, not like a keynote, but like, do you remember when we had that day of that week of like 3 John Turnus videos in a row?
Yeah.
I think that there will be a video that hits at that embargo time. And that's why everyone's attending this thing at the same time. Because why would you do it that way, right? Like, if it's just like, hey, come and see this thing, you wouldn't make people show up at the exact same time in all 3 locations across the world. You would just have everyone show up at 9 a.m. local time because we already all know everything. So I think that's my theory. It's not like a big leap from what everyone's saying, but just like I don't think that, it's just as clear cut as like, oh, we'll know everything before the event begins. I don't think it'll be that way.
Yeah, maybe. We can certainly make guesses about that next week when we play the Rickies. We did want to run down what could be announced next week. It feels like there's a lot of stuff that's sort of possible. The iPhone 17e, which, I think that being an annual product makes a lot of sense. Maybe they should add MagSafe this time.
This would define if it's an annual product. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been. That's
what I'm
one.
saying. It becoming one makes a lot of sense. The A18 iPad, that base iPad does not support Apple Intelligence, which probably fine for those users, but I think Apple wants to get everything up to snuff to support Apple Intelligence. M4 iPad Air. Is that what it says? M4 iPad in the notes. I don't know. That would be an iPad Air.
What do you think it could mean? I mean, it is obviously an Air, right?
An Air.
It's obviously an Air, yeah.
M4 iPad Mini, that'd be sick. M5 could expand to the MacBook Air. We could see the M5 Pro and Max MacBook Pros. This one is, I think, the second most interesting to me because there's a lot of reporting that the next generation MacBook Pro, possibly thinner, possibly touchscreen, that would be an M6 product. And a lot of reporting says that's the end of this year. And so if that is true, the M5 Pro and Max, if they exist, got to be out soon because I don't think Apple wants to have those on sale for like 3 months.
They're clearly late, right?
Yeah, I think so.
These were supposed to come out last year.
Well, they didn't announce it, Mike. It can't be late.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to finish the end of that sentence. But you know what? I can say for sure that they're late because why would you just bring out an M5 MacBook Pro and not update the MacBook Pros in the year? Like, you wouldn't do that and then update them in February.
Weird. Yeah.
They're late. Like, they didn't get them done in time. It's totally okay that things are late. Like, it's fine. Like, and we can all look at these things and work them out logically. Like, Siri is late. like Apple Intelligence updates are definitely late.
But Mike, they announced the dates for those. So we know they're late.
Well, I don't know.
You made your own logic circle.
You've become. I'm not really sure who this person is, but I'm happy that you've embodied.
It's Mastodon, Mr. Mastodon. M5 Mac Studio, so Max Ultra.
Well, yeah. So I wrote this M5 something because, you would assume Pro and Max to begin, right? It's Mac Studio comes in Pro, right? You can get an M5 Pro Mac Studio.
No, it's Max and Ultra.
Just Max and Ultra? Okay.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's M4 Max and M3 Ultra, right? Are the two Mac Studios you can get? So do we think they will do an M5 Ultra now?
I don't know. It would be a lot of chips to drop all at once, but, the Ultra surely is the least volume product of all those. So I don't know.
But if you want to get a real big open claw,
that's right.
You put on an M5 Ultra.
Yeah, if you want to be a clawhead
farmer, yeah, but a real clawhead.
New studio display. 90 hertz,
Okay.
as reported on the Relay FM podcast upgrade.
A long time ago, yeah.
Yep.
It was
According to
still
Matt.
Relay FM when we
Yeah, that irked me a little bit.
spoke about it. No, but it was Relay FM at the time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
We
Okay.
reported on this a really long time ago. This rumor is going back a long time.
Mm.
But yeah, I hope this one. I've wanted a new studio display for a really, really long time because I want to do the shuffling of displays. The LG display that I'm using right now, I don't like. I have a studio display on my desk, on my other desk, or like the one that I work on all day. I want to move that here and then get a new studio display and put it over there. So I'd be very excited if that happens.
Yeah. There's also home products. So the HomePod with a screen, which Mike would say is late.
I would say that's late, yes. and I also think it's going to be even later. Like, I figure it's not happening because the rumors have always suggested that this product is for some reason tied to Apple Intelligence. And well, nothing is shipped still. So this product presumably will also not ship and will just continue sitting around doing whatever it's doing. I like to imagine that they're all made. And they're just like in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, let's see if we can use our memories. Okay? We're going to try and use our collective memories now. There was a product of some description that Apple released where they put stickers on the box. And, right, you remembering this?
It had air power on the sticker.
That might be it, yes. And then when you peeled the sticker off, underneath, it said something.
I think.
There
Well,
you
no,
go. Zoe, with an incredible memory, AirPods Gen 2 had air power stickers. So you peeled off a sticker and it said air power or something underneath. I remember this is a thing because we were all peeling off the stickers from our products. That's what I imagine is going to happen with this product.
I think the iPhone XS, maybe the paperwork also referenced the air power. I don't remember. Smart home accessories. So whatever those things could be. We don't have time for this topic today, but just in the world of hurt that Ring has found itself in recently, it's like, man, Apple really has an opportunity to be like, we are the private camera, private smart home stuff. It's all on iCloud. It's all encrypted. Like, they could make a statement about their products in a way that would be, or their services in a way that would be really different right now. But because they don't sell any hardware, I feel like they can't really make that claim boldly.
I think that's a very interesting angle. I'll ask you two questions on this. And I'm not like trying to shoot you down, I'm just wondering. One, do you think people trust Apple?
Yes.
Okay. Two, do you think the majority of, even the minority of Ring's customers actually care?
I think it's a minority, for sure.
But like a small one. I think it's a very small one.
Probably.
Because I think it's like Ring cameras are like the Kleenex of security cameras.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Right? But it also it's just like if you want a security camera, you get a Ring camera.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And like, and I could imagine that even people that don't have Ring cameras refer to them as Ring cameras, right? I think that they're, I mean, the reason that they can help you find your lost dog is because they're so ubiquitous, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also can help track you down. Find your lost Steven. I'm going to call Ring.
Yeah,
like, where's Steven?
That's definitely what they're looking for.
Help me find him.
And then an Apple TV update, which does feel due, right? That it's been a few years. Not that it really matters.
What would they do, though? Like, I don't know.
What do they ever do? I mean, I guess they fixed the remote already. Yeah, I don't know.
What is it, like Apple Intelligence? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. People seem to want an Apple TV update, and I just don't know. Like, I want different products. Like, I want them to rethink the product, you know? Like, let's make one with a camera on it. Let's make one that's inside of a sound bar. Like, let's do some interesting stuff. But an update to the existing Apple TV, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what that is, really.
I think people view it as like a sign the product's not dead. Maybe.
I think the sign that the Apple TV is not dead is Apple TV.
Yeah, maybe.
As long as the Apple TV streaming service exists, Apple needs to sell you something that you can plug into a television and watch their stuff on.
Yeah.
That isn't like a real slow, messy smart TV app or whatever.
Yeah. The current one has the A15 Bionic. So
That's my favorite chip.
it was a good one. I wonder how many times the Apple TV gets updated because Apple doesn't want to make this chip anymore.
It's probably the only reason.
Maybe
they just can't. They can't keep making
it's
the chip.
a purely supply chain decision. Of course, I think the big possible product hanging over this event is a new, smaller A-series powered MacBook. You and Jason have talked a lot about this on Upgrade, really, or like the last year and a half. This has been rumored for a long time. The thing that hurts me about the most recent round of rumors is that orange is not rumored to be a color for this.
But
MacBook.
colors are there though, which is the good thing, right? Like
Yes.
the rumor is colors, but just not the one you want.
Yeah, so it looks like the colors would maybe follow kind of the entry level iPad colors, like the yellow, blue. I think there's a pink. But this is the most interesting one to me, just because it's both a new product, but it's also a new take on an old product. Like the original MacBook was plastic and cheap, and there were thousands of them everywhere you looked. And then the second generation MacBook was that 12-inch Retina one with the bad keyboard, the one port, basically a failure of a laptop in many ways. And now it's like, is this a return to form for the first one? Like, is this going to be the mainstream laptop? What about the MacBook Air? Like, there are some questions that this raises, but I'm very, very interested to see how they price it, how they talk about it, where they sell it, how they sell it. It's all very, I think, potentially very interesting.
And also, if you're trying to make a cheap computer, that they are launching it at the worst time to make a cheap computer.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
like,
all the RAMs go into important things, Mike.
That's what they say. But like that is the thing though, right? Like what a strange time to be like, hey, we have a new computer and it's cheaper than our current computers.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to see
it's bold
how the next week plays out price wise. Like if they update the Mac Studio and the MacBook Pro, what are the RAM prices?
Yeah.
Like, especially the Mac Studio, because you can put like a billion gigabytes of RAM in those things.
And I saw some rumors going around that Apple was actually going to make a 1 terabyte RAM Mac Studio. Is that still something that is possible?
Oh, I mean, it's possible, but like only Tim can afford it. Mm-hmm. But maybe not. Like this is the question, right? Of like, Apple have said on I think their last earnings call that they feel like they were in a pretty decent spot, but it's going to be fascinating to see over the next week, or next couple of weeks, I should say. Like, what does their pricing stuff look like?
Yeah,
maybe we'll talk about it in the Rickies in some more detail. We'll find out.
Could do it. Yeah. Yes. So we'll be playing the Rickies next week. Even though this isn't a keynote, it's a pre-announced press event. This feels close enough. And look, we all just want to do something exciting and fun. So we'll be back with some picks. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Insta360. Now, you might already know Insta360 for their action and 360 cameras. Well, they've taken all of that expertise and they brought it to the webcam world for their newest conferencing products. The new Insta360 Wave and the Link 2 Pro, which is their flagship 4K AI webcam. They sent me both of these products. They've been on my desk for a while now, and they're incredible. The camera looks great, and it sounds really good, but you can also use it in conjunction with the 360 Wave. This is a dual microphone system, so it can be omnidirectional or directional with AI noise cancellation and beamforming. When I used to jump on a call, I would fire up my podcasting rig and put my in-ears in and set my microphone up. And I've been using the Wave instead, and it sounds great. And it really pairs nicely with that camera. The Link 2 Pro has a large 1/1/3 inch sensor with dual native ISO and HDR, which that means you get a crisp, detailed 4K video, whether you're in a dim home office or you're sitting in front of a bright window. And it even creates that natural DSLR style bokeh. So you stand out from your background without it looking artificial. And their software works with all of these tools. It's really easy to manage, and you can even use their built-in Insight AI that can transcribe, summarize, and even visualize your meetings in real time. So you get a clean transcript and key takeaways instantly. And you can sync everything to tools like Notion with one click. So instead of scrambling to take notes, you can focus on the conversation and let AI handle the rest. It's a serious upgrade for creators, streamers, and professionals who want to level up their setup without adding a bunch of extra gear. So if you're looking to elevate your video, audio, and productivity all at once, check out the Insta360 Wave and Link 2 Pro at insta360.com. That's INSTA, insta360.com, or check out the link in the show notes. Our thanks to Insta360 for the support of the show and all of Relay.
So we have the first beta of iOS 26.4, and the new Siri is here. No, I'm kidding. There's no new Siri. Nope. Same old Siri. No Gemini integration. There are some features, lots of attention to Apple Music, I feel like, in this first beta. I compiled a list of changes that I wanted to go over. So in Apple Music, the thing that got really popular on social media is the new full screen design for album and playlist pages. So they now basically take the colors from the playlist or album artwork and they extend the color to be full screen. It's a really impactful and, I gotta say, good looking design that, from my perspective, makes, Spotify, YouTube Music feel kind of old immediately. Really, it's a really nice design, I think, especially when you combine it with animated artwork. You have these animations going on, but also the full screen color background. It looks really tasteful.
Yeah.
Alan Dye could never, am I right?
Yeah, I saw some comments being like, this is what Stephen LeMay can do. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, he did it himself. He got all up in there and he recoded music.
Yeah. The other standout feature of Apple Music, of course, is the return of the sentence from Beats Music. No, really, it's
context, please.
They're calling it Playlist Playground, and it's a way to generate playlists using AI, using an Apple Foundation model that runs in the cloud. And you type in a prompt, and you get a playlist back after a few minutes, depending on the complexity of the prompt and whether the prompt is considered safe or not, because there are many guardrails in place for, certain types of content that Apple Music won't generate for you.
Do you know, or have you seen from your experience, that this system weights the music that you already have in your own library?
I have not personally tested this because I don't have the beta installed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm still on 26.3.
Yeah.
John did an article per my suggestion. I woke up and I saw the news. I was like, John, can you please work on this stupid story for the site, comparing the same outputs? That's what an editor-in-chief does. Am I right?
Stupid stories. Yeah.
Can you go back, find some historical prompts from the sentence feature of Beats Music from 2014 and rerun the same prompts in Apple Music Playlist Playground today and see what happens? And there's also pretty similar, in fact, and maybe slightly better, of course, in Apple Music because of AI. Funny feature. I think this will be quite popular with people who enable Apple Intelligence. Kind of harmless, you can just generate a playlist with a prompt.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what they did in Photos, which is great. Yeah. Like being able to make a memory from a prompt.
Yeah.
So hopefully I've got the beta, but not on my main phone. That Apple ID has no Apple Music associated with it, except I guess I can put the U2 album on there. But I really like the Photos memory thing. I think it's really cool. And so I'm looking forward to playing with this.
I like the idea, right, of like, it's Sunday and we have people coming over and I want some chill music or whatever. And it could, in theory, create a good playlist for me with that. I think this is a smart way of using a model, right, to like enhance an experience inside of an app. I think it's clever.
Yeah. Also in Apple Music, you can now add the same song to multiple playlists at once, a feature that Spotify has had for years. There's a new integration to find concerts near you, which is another Spotify feature that now made it to Apple Music. There are new widgets for ambient music, so like those chill playlists, energy playlists, like you have dedicated widgets for those. That's Apple Music. Some settings that are changing. You can see data usage on a per device basis for personal hotspot. So if you're using personal hotspot, you can see which device used the most data in the devices that are connected to your iPhone, for example. You can, in the wallpaper gallery, you can now download specific collections. You can delete other collections. Redesigned account page in the App Store and Apple Music when you go into your I know, right? Big deal. At least they now have nicer looking buttons for redeeming a gift card, for example. Again, props to Stephen LeMay for doing these buttons.
He's a big gift card guy.
Yeah. New average bedtime metric in health, so you can see how little or you sleep if you don't sleep a lot.
I just love that they've made a change to the sleep system, which is still not helpful, right? Like, knowing when I went to bed is not a helpful thing to track. What I want to know is when did I fall asleep, and they are not the same thing, right? Like, knowing the time I went to bed is like not as helpful, I think, as they might want me to believe it is.
Yeah.
What else do we have? There's some CarPlay stuff. I saw that there's support for ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini in CarPlay.
Well, technically, there is the availability for support for AI chatbots via an entitlement. So ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini could be available in CarPlay, right? Provided they've gone through the entitlement system. Apple's created a new entitlement for CarPlay, which is like voice-based communication with chatbot apps. So all of these apps or none of these apps could come to CarPlay, but the possibility is there for them now to do that.
Okay.
And also video playback. So they announced this at WWDC, but video playback via AirPlay is kind of working in 26.4. It's taken a bit of hacking, it seems, to get it to work, but at least the foundation of this system is there, so it's rolling out at some point. And it seems like there will also be an Apple TV app in CarPlay, so you could watch content. Now, of course, it's only when you're parked.
Yes.
You can't just like put on shrinking while you're speeding down the freeway.
Yeah. This is interesting to me. Lots of other car manufacturers have had this, like Tesla's had video and games in their cars forever. Lots of other companies do it. And a lot of there's a bunch of these like third-party boxes you can like plug into your USB port that add wireless CarPlay. But a lot of them also add, because they're basically just Android boxes and CarPlay runs on top of their like Android stack. But it's like, oh, there's a Netflix client or, a video player you can sideload videos on and stuff. This stuff exists out in the world. Legitimate stuff doesn't work when you're driving. Some of these like third-party things do. But I just think about, the CarPlay radio I put in my truck, which was a nice head unit, but video is going to suck on that screen. Like, it's small, it's kind of jittery. Like, it's, a lot of people are not going to be impressed with how this works. But if you have a car that has a nice display that has, is nice and smooth and looks good, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And it is putting Apple, I think the big thing is if you use it or not, or you care about it or not, it's putting CarPlay more in line with what others are doing. And Apple is in this point of time, right, where there are more and more car manufacturers saying, no, we need to do it ourselves because we want to have all of our services on top of it. And this is another reason to stay in CarPlay as opposed to bouncing out to whatever system it may be running on top of. Just super interesting. But it feels like it's more of a defensive move than a feature that they think is really going to change the world.
Yeah, I think it's if people are putting aftermarket boxes in their car, to do this, then you should add this feature to try and stop people from doing things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it makes sense. Why not? Right. Like these are screens. They're bigger than our phones. And sometimes people just have to sit in their car for a while and they're parked or whatever. So why not let them catch up on something while they're sitting there with that big screen in front of them? These things are just computers at the end of the day. So why not?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously what is not here is any change to Apple Intelligence. So it has not shipped. It clearly is delayed at this point. There is nothing. Who knows what comes next? Maybe still in this beta cycle, they might add something, right? This is just the first beta of 26.4. Something could still be added to this cycle. Unlikely, considering there doesn't appear to be anybody finding any reference to it. So maybe it's 26.5, 26.6, or 27.0. We'll
Definitely 27 at this point.
Yeah.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Fundera, powered by NerdWallet. Running a small business is tough, and when it's time to get a loan, it can feel impossible to find a lender you can actually trust. The big banks say no, and then the internet is full of sketchy offers with sky-high rates and fine print no one can understand. It's super confusing out there for small businesses. So whether you need help covering payroll, managing cash flow, or investing in growth, you deserve better. And it should be simple. You don't want this taking up a bunch of your time when you're already busy running your small business. That's why you should check out the small business marketplace, Fundera, powered by NerdWallet. It's a free and easy-to-use platform that lets you compare real financing offers from trusted lenders all in one place. You just do one application, and they're realistic about small businesses. You don't need perfect credit to get started. There's no spam, no bait and switch, just personalized options that fit your business needs. There's a soft credit check up front, which does not impact your credit score, so you can check out which loan fits you best without taking a hit there. And it's free to use, and remember, they're not a lender, so you can trust them to help you get paired up with the right solution. So if you're looking for a small business loan, check out Fundera. You can imagine if you're in a small business, I run a small business. And if you're looking for a loan, if you're dealing with financial issues, you want to find a tool you can trust. And Fundera is that tool. So here's the best part. For a limited time, when you visit nerdwallet.com/connected and fill out the no obligation form, you'll get VIP treatment and talk to a real person who knows the ins and outs of small business lending. Don't risk your business on unreliable lenders. Go to nerdwallet.com/connected to find the funding you deserve. Fundera Inc., NMLS ID number 1240038. Our thanks to Fundera, powered by NerdWallet, for their support of this show and all of Relay. Mark Gurman reports. Gurman, the wizard is reporting.
You have the opportunity to just restart that.
No, it's staying in.
Okay.
Apple,
Right.
according to Mark Gurman, is working on 3 potential AI hardware products. So smart glasses. I'm going to put these in order in which I think they are likely. Smart glasses, AirPods with expanded AI capabilities, and a pendant that can, quote, be pinned to a shirt or worn as a necklace.
It's interesting to me that you put glasses above AirPods.
I think glasses have, well, really for reasons Federico wrote in the document, I think glasses just make more sense in a product like this. But I want to read verbatim a sentence that Gurman wrote, because when I read this, I was like, oh, well, this is never happening. Quote, all 3 devices are being built around the Siri digital assistant, which will rely on visual context to carry out actions. This is the thing you mentioned earlier, the sticker on the box. Like, this is, if all 3 of these projects are real and the home pad, tablet, home controller, TV on a robot arm maybe thing is real.
How many words have you used?
A lot of words.
Yeah.
A lot of words.
Okay.
Then that's 4 potential products, hardware products that are held up in some way by Apple's failure to ship a meaningful AI product. And that's super interesting. And I could see them now relying on Gemini for some of this stuff. But I guess we can start with the smart glasses. Y'all both have experience with the Meta products, and I think they're out ahead on this right now. And do you guys see Apple doing this, and what do you think they could bring to this product that is different than Meta, or do you see them just having their version of it?
Do you mind if I sum up what Mark's reporting?
I think I did a really good job of that, but yeah, I mean, if you feel
Okay,
like you
sure.
need to.
So the smart glasses, they're planned, as Mark says, are planned to be positioned as an advanced offering in the company's AI hardware lineup, intended to compete with Meta's camera-equipped eyewear. With a public release in 2027, these won't have a display in them. They will have speakers, mics, and a camera, but they'll have multiple cameras. One camera will do high-resolution imagery, so taking photos and videos in the way that you would want to, but then having another one that is purposed for computer vision. My expectation is that it's probably an infrared camera, but who knows? Apple considered a brand partnership for the lenses in the same way that Meta worked with Ray-Bans, but instead are going to make their own frame designs that they will update over time, different colors, different materials, going for a premium feel, etc. And I'll read one more quote. The goal is for the glasses to function as an all-day AI companion capable of understanding what a user is seeing and doing in real time. Wearers could look at an object and ask what it is and get assistance with everyday tasks. That could mean inquiring about an ingredients in a meal, for instance. This one, to me, is funny, right? So, like every AI demonstration is plan me a trip, right? Every AR glasses thing is what do I put in this meal? It's just like, it's like, how does food work? Like, this is just the result of all of these. So to answer your question, Meta are obviously ahead because they have a product that's shipping and that people like it. I think they said they sold 5 million of them last year or something. So like it is a successful product. Apple should do this. I think they could do this, but I do think that by the time this product comes out, the delta between Meta's product and this will be wide. Like they're already shipping a product that has a screen in it.
Yeah.
Like that little display. So Apple's going to have to make something that's very compelling to be able to be considered as competing. But it's who knows what they're going to do. There's also suggestions that Meta's trying to build a worldwide face scanning thing. So maybe going back to what you were saying earlier on, people might be more happy to wear the Apple glasses if they feel like they have to wear some, because maybe they would be a bit more privacy conscious.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of a worldwide face database.
No. What do you think, Federico, about the Apple one?
I feel like they have an opportunity to make the kind of product that I wanted that just works with the iPhone. I feel like I was in some ways forced to get the Meta product because it was the only one that existed. The fact that I enjoyed the Meta Ray-Bans and I never ever turned on Meta AI, I feel like it says a lot about the I feel like a lot of people like the product on principle but use it begrudgingly because they dislike Meta so much. And I mean that's exactly where I'm at with that accessory. I really like the idea. Shame that it's made by Meta and an Apple version cannot come soon enough. Even if it's a one-to-one copy, I would just get the Apple version because I just dislike everything about Meta so strongly. And of course, it comes with some nice benefits, like maybe you will be able to take pictures and they will automatically show up in the Photos app instead of having to do the weird import dance. It's going to be the same Siri that you can use on your phone. So in theory, with the same app intents and integration with HomeKit. All of those system integrations, dictation, Apple Music, like all of those things will just carry over from the phone to the glasses. Which is exactly what I want. They don't have to be extremely innovative for me to be useful. They just need to be the Apple version of something that is proven to be nice and proven to be useful, but limited because it's made by another company. So I don't really want them to do anything extravagant. Just make the same thing, but made by Apple. That's it.
I don't know how they do it, but now there's been an update with the Meta app, and now the photos do just show up in your photos library. I don't know how they're doing that, but that was something that happened relatively recently. I think now they just show up somehow. But yeah, I want this product. I think the sticking point for me, and I think I will be very keen, is will they look good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's reporting that they are looking at making their own frames.
Yeah.
Which is compelling. Meta has gone and made partnerships, and I think Gurman says that Apple looked at that, and maybe they will do it, but they are also looking at their own frames. I think the big thing for this category to take off and be really mainstream, forget the privacy and technology angles, like just the looks of it. There'd be a lot of options, right? Not everyone wants to be shoehorned into the same 3 frame styles, and I think that is. I think they're working towards that, right? I mean, you got the Meta Oakleys. I mean, how cool do you want to be in 2003? But it's got to be accessible in terms of fashion, and right now I'm just not sure there's enough optionality there.
Yeah, you know who wears glasses? Stephen LeMay.
Oh yeah,
good
Just
stuff.
saying.
Good stuff.
You know?
This is my big concern, right? I think Meta and Google have made the right choices where they're working with existing brands that make glasses that are considered to be good looking.
Mm-hmm.
This is not Apple's thing.
Yeah.
And I would be worried that they're like, we made this one.
Yeah.
It's the Apple glasses.
And they're aluminum.
Or like whatever they are, right? Like Gurman actually calls out that there's some acrylic options too, which is nice. Or like they're going to use acrylics, and I'm sure they're going to do a good job, but it's like my concern would be the Apple Watch company.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, here is, it's like there is one of these, but it comes in a bunch of different colors. It's like, that's not what I would be looking for. And I think the cheat code that Meta unlocked was Ray-Ban, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were able to, everybody knows what Ray-Bans look like and accepts them and thinks they look good. So they were able to just put their technology in that existing, already accepted design. And I think it's going to be, and also the Ray-Bans and the Oakleys and whatever, they look like the glasses that exist, right? So you can kind of wear them and people don't, it's less of a visual stigma than say something like a Google Glass, right? Which is obvious what you were wearing. And the Meta products, they're hidden. Will Apple's glasses look like the computer glasses?
Yeah.
Like they're going to look like Apple's glasses, so you're not going to feel like you could hide them in a way, which I do think is an important thing to people. Like that they don't, but I don't know. We get by with our smartwatches, so maybe it's not so much of a concern. But I do think it's different when these things are on your face 24/7.
Oh, for sure. Up next, we have the smarter, more useful AirPods.
Yeah, this one
with cameras.
This one I don't get. This one I don't get.
Yeah.
This one I really don't get. So the idea of putting cameras in AirPods, what will those cameras see exactly? And follow-up question, have they tested this with people who have long hair? I struggle to imagine where you could put cameras in AirPods that are not sticking out too much and how they can reliably see the outside world without, again, sticking out too much or being covered by hair. I don't get it.
How long is Steve LeMay's hair?
Not that long.
Oh boy.
I mean, you've got to assume like common sense prevails, and they have done that test, right?
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Like they have done, right? They must have. But I also cannot conceive of what this product looks like or how it works. Like I was doing some very basic Googling. I got very confused earlier of like, well, actually, that's not true. I was doing some Googling earlier to try and understand, can infrared cameras see through hair? The problem is all of those searches are, can they see through clothes, which is terrible. But that's all you can read, all I could find in like 15 minutes of Googling. It's just different Reddit threads of people asking that question, which is very uncomfortable. And so I ended up just backing out of that research. But that's the thing that I'm wondering is like, is there some kind of technology that would be able to perceive that? Or they just say these work with people when they put their hair up, which is not an exciting product. But also, I don't think I want cameras on my AirPods anyway. I don't think that that's going to make my AirPods a better product in any way that I would care about. I think it's most likely going to make the product worse, where I would be, if I really wanted a camera to see my world all the time, I would want to go to Stephen's third product, the pendant, more than I would want cameras on my AirPods.
Yeah, the pendant, I think, is the idea is tainted by Humane, right? They sort of messed up this part of the this category of products for a lot of people. There is something very funny about Apple exploring this, and if they did it and it were successful, where Humane failed, because a lot of Apple people don't like the people who were at Humane. I think having something so visible is just a big ask. And I think it kind of has the Google Glass problem where it's right, like it is what it looks like, right? Where well done smart glasses, you don't really, they sort of blend in. I agree with everything Federico said about cameras and AirPods. I just don't think that's super viable idea. But something like this, like, you're going to know that's what it is, right? Yeah. And that, I think, is a big thing to overcome. I'm just not sure that they could swing that.
Yeah, you're going to see somebody with some kind of pendant, some kind of pin, and know that potentially they're being recorded, and there's a camera built in, which is, look, there's an argument to be made for the fact that now we live under the assumption that we could always be recorded, right? Yeah. And this argument was stronger 15 years ago, right? That's why Google Glass was so early to the market, and why it was so contentious when it came out. But there's still, what I think is the crux of the problem is the act of recording. If you see somebody actively recording, that they're holding up a phone with their hands and they're recording you, you can see the act itself, and it's obvious that it's happening. What's creepy here is that this thing is just hanging on your neck or pinned to your clothes, right? And it's passive recording. That's what I think makes it creepy, potentially. And why there could be a dissonance between Apple, the privacy company, selling you a product that can passively record people around you at the expense of their privacy, right? That's I think, from my perspective, the difference. The seeing somebody with their phone actively recording you versus somebody just has a thing on their jacket that is recording you, and you don't know whether or not that's happening, because it's happening potentially or not in the background.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about you're getting ready in the morning, right? Most of us have our phones and Apple Watches, and maybe we have AirPods in our bag or our pockets. And then you add this thing. So you got 4 things, right? It's a lot of stuff. I just wonder, like, the watch is very successful. Now, it's the wrong place for a camera, I think. You don't want to be like holding your arm out all the time to record stuff. But it's like they already have a successful wearable. And why not make that more capable in these areas? Like, I think it's mostly placement, right? It's that you don't know where someone's hand is going to be at any given moment. But if it's glasses or AirPods or a pendant or something, you know where the hardware is going to be. You can design it for that sort of rough placement on the body. And, I can be talking to you with my hands in my pockets and the watch under a jacket or something. people go to the watch as like, hey, yeah, this is like, they already have this. You should build into it. But I don't know if they can overcome some of those design issues.
Yeah, I think this product and the cameras in the AirPods, for Apple specifically, they are products in search of a problem. Because there are things that this type of technology can do, right? Like, I think more and more people now are using some kind of service, app, tool, device, whatever, to record their Zoom calls and give them transcripts and meeting notes at the end, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a good thing, like, fine, that works. So you could imagine maybe doing that kind of thing in person with a meeting that you're having. But the thing is, I haven't seen Apple being successful in that. Similarly, this like seeing the world, right? That's visual intelligence. Does anybody use visual intelligence? I don't. Again, it's not a product that I have seen Apple be successful in. So it's like, great, you're going to give me a device that I can speak to all the time. Also, your assistant sucks right now, and everybody knows that, right? So all of these products of like, we're talking about now trying to imagine a world in which we would use them or not. But right now, we have seen zero success from this company in being able to provide an experience that would power these products. Like, if we get in a year from now and like the Siri on my phone is so good that like I'm talking to it all the time because it's super helpful, and I could use it to record things for me and like, fantastic. But I just don't. I struggle to understand what I would use this for. Like, I just don't. I can't see it because they've not shown me that they're capable of doing anything in this world. And I don't think the hardware is what's missing, right? Like, I don't think it's, oh, you can't see it because you don't have the Apple pendant. No, I can't see it because Apple Intelligence doesn't exist. Like 2 years after it was supposed to have existed. So going back to what you were saying at the beginning, Stephen, it's like we're just now pinning more hardware on top of a software that doesn't exist for them yet. And so like you've really got to hope that they've got it working somewhere, but all of the reporting says that they don't. So they're really putting all their carts before the horse now with all this stuff. And I just don't, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. They're in a tricky spot here, right? And in some ways, this is a story that's kind of been hanging around Apple for a long time, right? That the hardware is great, but software lets it down. I mean, see how many editions of Federico's iPad OS reviews over the years, right? The iPad Pro is great. The iPad Air 2, why is it so powerful? And you can only do these things with it, right? We've talked about that a long time. This feels just like a newer version of that. And I know that the AI tools have bounced around a lot within Apple, right? It's been well reported that some people were in charge of it. They're gone. It was like 2 teams at one point. Like, okay, now it seems like you're moving in one direction. You've got Craig Federighi running it. You're using Gemini for the models, but you're building your own features on top of it. Like, if they still can't get it right after this hopefully final realignment, like I don't know, like what happens after this if this doesn't work? Are you going to continue to spend time and money building products that will never see the light of day because the software that needs to run them isn't available to you? Like, that's not a great situation to be in. And it really feels like we're racing towards a breaking point with that in kind of a new way with some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's like that world is fine if you want to just keep making computers that can run other people's software on them, right?
Yeah.
But if you decide you want to make smart glasses and a smart pendant and cameras in your earphones, you have to be able to power those things with the software. Like, and it seems like Apple's not content with just being what many people, like many analysts, are like. Apple can just be the place where everybody else has their AI, right? Like, it's like a Ben Thompson said that a bunch, and many others. It's like that is true if they were content to continue just making laptops and phones, but they're clearly not content to just continue making laptops and phones. So they have to get the other part of it right, even if it means partnering with someone. That's fine. But at the moment, we're just not seeing, there's just no evidence of that.
Yeah. Yep, I don't envy trying to solve it. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got to be so annoyed if you're in the hardware teams, right?
Oh yeah, you got to be
Like furious.
furious.
Like this must be becoming a bigger and bigger problem for them. What happens when the hardware chief's the CEO?
Yeah,
He gets really angry.
Gets real angry.
yeah. And at what point do people start turning on Craig Federighi over this stuff?
Oh. Well, people like us who pay attention, right, would say would be able to point to he's only been in control of this for like 6 months.
Yeah, but the like I said, this is just another chapter of the same book.
Yeah, exactly. But like, so the thing is, well, we look to the 27 releases, right? I feel like if they haven't got this sorted out for the 27 operating systems, then we can be like, well, Craig, you've had time now. You know, now what are we doing?
It's going to be a very interesting year, I think.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
26 is going to be just full of fun things to talk about. And we'll be here talking about them together. That's nice.
Yeah.
You excited about that?
Yeah.
I'm more excited about us than Apple and AI,
Yeah.
which is not a high bar to for sure, but still.
Well, until all those stories come to pass, thank you for listening to these stories we talked about this week.
Silly stories.
Silly stories with the boys. If you want to find the show notes, they're on the web at relay.fm/connected/591. They're also in your podcast player. A couple of fun links there. One, you can leave us feedback or follow up. So leave us a note, and you can make it anonymous if you have secrets, or if you just want to tell us, how you're doing. Let us know. You can also become a member and get Connected Pro, which is the longer and ad-free version of the show that we do each and every week. This week, we spoke about the glory days of Web 2.0 and some of the apps and services that we miss from that time period of the web. It was a fun trip down memory lane for us. And of course, come back next week where we make our picks ahead of Apple's March 4th experience. Maybe Jim can put some cool thunder behind my voice. Experience.
Wow. Okay.
Man, that was cool. Thanks, Jim. I'd like to thank our sponsors.
I really hope that he didn't do it. Or he did the exact opposite.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He's an artist over there. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Century, Insta360, and Fundera for making the show possible. And until next time, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.